So welcome back to another episode of The Boardroom. Today we're here with Nicholas, Regina, and we'll be talking about the ins and outs of entrepreneurship. This episode is sponsored by Sick Kids Hospital. Help us fight the sickness by donating. Visit us at fundraiser.sickkidsfoundation.com/golden heart. 100% of donations goes to helping build a new hospital. Click the link above and you immediately receive a tax receipt to your email. Our vision is simple. Healthier children equals a better world. Today we are here on The Boardroom with Nicholas, Regina. Nicholas is a well-rounded individual, to say the least. Nicholas comes from the entertainment industry and is now involved in the finance world, and he seems to be making a smoothie of both worlds and combining it from what we're seeing there.
I call him the Canadian Pauly D over here.
Oh, he just did a few push-ups before the podcast, and he's not joking about that. But we'll let Nicholas tell you more about his story and how it all came to be.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for having me, guys. Mikey, Chris, honored to be here. Love what you boys did with the office, and just excited and fired up to tell my story and share this next hour with you guys.
I'm sure you're gonna inspire a lot of people.
Yeah, and good on you guys for giving back and the whole Sick Kids sponsorship and what you're doing there. That's big, right? That's what it's all about. It's all about giving back and helping, the less fortunate, empowering them, right, and keeping the health on the kids' side, right?
Exactly.
So that's awesome.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Closest
Love
thing
it.
to an angel is a child, if you ask me. So
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. It's all good stuff, boys. All good stuff. Yeah, so a little bit about myself. Parents are from Italy. I'm Canadian, though, right? Dufferin and Sinclair. Born and
they
raised.
remind you every World Cup that you're Canadian.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
World Cup. Why are you cheering? You're Canadian.
Of
Now we get to
Italian
cheer for
descent.
Canada now.
Oh, the big
Instead-
boys in Qatar. Shout out to the boys in Qatar.
But yes, from Italian descent, born and raised in the Dufferin and Sinclair area. Came from very humble beginnings. Father was a construction worker and mother stayed home with me and my brother and my sister. I'm the oldest of the three. Just very, very grateful for my childhood and my parents. They're awesome. Wasn't the best student in school. Never really paid too much attention. Never gave it my all, I guess, right? The system just didn't work with me, right? And vice versa, right? Yeah, no one's blaming anyone here. Just
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
in this case, it's shit. That being the case, my dad from a very young age was like, all right, get in the truck, we're going to work kind of thing. If this school thing isn't going to go right for you, then you're going to learn how to work, and we're going to inject some solid work ethic into you and make sure that you're out there and you're hustling, right? And what he was doing at the time was construction, right? So, yeah, just started working with him on the weekends and evenings, and then the summers that I had off started as soon as grade 9 came around, 13, 14 years old. I'd work the full summer with him, along with, again, the weekends and evenings when school was back in. And I always had a passion for the nightlife and entertainment side of things. My cousin owned a restaurant back in the day, so I was also a busboy at 13 years old, grade 8.
Holy.
I started
early.
Yeah, and I do, in a good way, blame my parents for that, right? They really knew that the whole school system wasn't working for me, and I wasn't getting the grades, or I didn't really care to want to step my stuff up. And obviously them being good parents and having their fingers on the pulse and knowing a lot about how I was rocking and rolling, it just wasn't going to happen in school. So I blame them for pushing me into the workforce very early and having it be that I worked my ass off, right? It just wasn't here and there. It was every day, right? So, yeah, that being said, I worked up and worked my way up with the construction side of things in his company. I was a general laborer to start. So he'd have me on the demo sites with my young buddies, and I'd give us
boots giving you blisters.
Yeah. It was really cool that he'd have me and 5, 6 of my younger buddies. I'd bring them to work in the summer, and he'd have us doing a lot of the demo jobs. And a lot of his jobs that he'd have was restaurants and nightclubs, right? So Sam and Pete's was one of them. Inside Chocolate Nightclub, 7 Red Sky, which was the De Maurier patio that they did there. So we were on all these sites and still too young to go to the clubs, but being in there doing the demo and helping build them was
one of
really
those scenarios
cool.
where you're old enough to buy cigarettes but not old enough to smoke them. Those kind of scenarios there.
Because I had my fair share of throwing parties and stuff. It's pretty sketchy. I don't know how you went from going from the entertainment to being a CEO of your own company. How did you make that transition?
Yeah, so again, started off as a busboy, worked my way up to a bartender at a martini bar on College Street called Eat My Martini.
Nice.
It was a really cool gig. And then from there, I noticed that I was able to like really just hold down a lot of conversations at the bar, make people laugh. I'd invite my buddies out just to simply serve them and be able to create, you know, a certain energy around my bar and see people smile on their face and see people have a good time and just see people leave whatever it is that they came in with style of baggage from that tough week at work or that tough week at school and just let loose. So I was on the receiving end of all this beautiful energy coming off these people that were letting loose, having a good time, right? And being able to curate that experience was something that I really got off on. So that was the bartending end of it, and then it evolved into me being a promoter and starting my own promotion company, which is called NRG, right? Nicholas Regina Group.
You started NRG.
Yeah.
I've heard of it tons of times. I got out of the entertainment industry quite a while. I did 4D events, you know, 4D in the UT days.
Yeah, Mickey and the boys there.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You got Mickey, and then you had I didn't really know the UT guys, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I was with just Mickey from beginning to end, and with the Zecco and Torres and all those guys. And then it's once you're able to build that atmosphere that you're talking about, because what you did was you developed an atmosphere that people enjoyed being a part of. They wanted to be a part of your world. So from what I'm getting here is you were able to grab that world and kind of create something from it that was more than just the partying aspect of it, right? Because you built really strong relationships in that industry.
Yeah.
That's so facts.
Yeah, so
atmosphere is the number one.
For sure.
That's
No,
why
it's
people wanna come.
that community, right? Like that community, that family, and it was genuine. The energy was always genuine. It was always like, how can I add value for you? How can I bend over backwards for you? I didn't care what point in time it was throughout the night. I'd be running outside and getting my people in and always fighting for a line bypass. I'd have all the security guards on envelopes. So anytime my crowd came by, I'd bump them right to the front and get them in. If they had, you know, any problems in the club, you know, and they were texting me that their booth arrangement wasn't, you know, set up properly, or they wanted, you know, maybe a comped bottle because they had already bought in 6 or 7. Like, I was never there partying in a big way. I was always there to service.
Networking.
Service.
I remember one
Servicing
time.
and networking.
I remember one time when I had this really big one in December, and it was like chaotic. It was so bad. And it was my biggest one yet. And I remember like just looking over the ledge and just seeing like all these people like having a good time. And I'm like, dude, I did this.
Yeah.
Like, it's just that
fulfilling.
That reward. And then coat check went to fucking shit, and there was fights outside and all that other stuff. But that moment right there was worth everything.
Yeah.
It was dope.
It's so funny you say that. So for the last 8 years, I did the New Year's party at Liberty Grand every year. That was my party.
I went 2020, 2019.
That was my last party in the industry. It was 2020 Liberty Grand Countdown. That was I checked out of that. Yeah. So to go back on your point, that balcony in the governor's room where you're looking down at the pit, which is 2,500, and then there's a couple thousand in the other rooms because it's a 5,000 person party total. That reward that you speak
dope,
of is nuts.
It's a little bit. It puts you on. It gives you a nice little ego, but dude, you work so hard up to that day. You got to enjoy a little bit. Of it, you know?
You're the reason they're all having a good time.
Yeah,
and that feeling is like.
Yes,
and that you can't even put it into words.
And that's what kept me coming back, was just being able to deliver that experience, have them forget about their tough time leading up into that event, and just seeing the euphoria in the room.
So why did you get out of the business if it was so fulfilling for you?
Yeah, so I'm a father of 3 now. So in a nutshell, you know,
congratulations, Daddy Duty's called.
Yeah. So it went from the promotion side of things, and I went into the club owning side. So I owned a bunch of clubs on King West. I owned 2 in Miami, and did the big events, the promotion stuff. So I was very involved. There wasn't a day. It was 7 days a week. I had a condo across the street from Bloken Forth, which was my club at the time. Then down the street was Same. So I had 2 clubs, and I lived across the street. I was like just ingrained in the industry.
Wow.
It was 7 days a week. If I wasn't sleeping, I was working, whether it was an event, the promotion company, or the clubs I owned. So long story short, it just took over my whole agenda. I was very unbalanced. As much money as I was making, as much success as we were seeing in regards to the growth of the business, I was unhappy. And I wasn't feeling like that that was something that was calling me anymore. And that was
irony.
my mission. And that I had kind of conquered and came and what I had came for, I had done.
You accomplished it.
Yeah.
Right.
You felt done.
Yeah.
Like it was
I
done.
felt- yeah,
You
there
didn't
was-
see anything past the ceiling. You're at the top
Yeah.
of Mount Everest yelling, and you
Yeah.
looked around. You didn't see a taller mountain. So you're
Yeah.
like, what now?
Yeah, yeah, and 100%, right? The 9 years in a row we won Promoter of the Year. The 3 years I had before I had gone out, 3 years prior I had won Club Owner of the Year. So it's not me blowing smoke up my ass. It's me just
what
trying
happened.
to put emphasis on that point where I felt like what I came to do, I did, right? And then this is my next chapter. I had my daughter, right? And my wife stuck around through all that, right? And that was tough on her just because of the work schedule and what that life consists of. So it was like, I want to be a sick dad. That's my number one priority. Like that's number one. And then number two and everything else, like there's that much of a fucking gap.
Right.
It's not even a close second. I want to be a sick dad. I want to give as much love as I can to my kids. And if I'm at work at night and I'm at work on the weekends, because that's what that schedule consists of, I'm not going to be able to be the best dad that I know I can be. So no matter how much money I was making, no matter how many projects I was a part of, no matter the success, the award, any of that, it just came, like I said, it was a far second. So it was easy to walk away in that sense, but it was tough and my ass was shaking because
Money-wise.
I didn't know anything about the finance game. I didn't know anything about the corporate world. I didn't know anything about what I'm doing right now, right? So, and I had 3 little mouths to feed at home.
I love that, how you
So-
didn't put a price on your daughter's happiness.
Never.
And there's a lot of people that are going to listen to this and watch this that have sacrificed happy moments in their lives for financial gain.
Yeah.
And have sacrificed. And there's nothing wrong with hustling. However, how you're speaking about it, the way, you wanted to be that cool dad, you wanted to be there for the little moments that your daughter will remember and appreciate.
Yeah.
And the fact that you prioritize that is what I believe led you on the path you were meant to be, because you can be successful and be an amazing dad. And the fact that you were looking to combine those things is incredible. So kudos to you, man.
Yeah, thank you, bro. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it didn't. And then it was almost one of those things where everyone was just like, what wasn't it? Was it hard? Was it tough? Was it all these things? It's like, yeah, but like there was just so much fuel in me, right? That was coming
with all
from
this
good that
energy,
it was like you're just fucking plowing through it. You know what I mean? And it's like one day after the next, whatever it took to build the business up to what it is right now. And we still feel like we're just getting started. It was like, let's go.
So
It's
where
go
did
time,
you,
right?
Where did you start?
Yeah.
You said you didn't really have an idea with the finance industry. Where did you
Yeah.
start from? Like, I guess you play with a lot of numbers when you have to do promoting, though, right? There's a lot of numbers involved. So
Yeah.
would that relate to anything when the finance business? Because there's an entertainment aspect to your page too. Like Chris and I were
Yeah.
talking about it. Like you guys are not only just a mortgage brokers. You got entertainment aspect.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
it. You got that. That's why I said this guy's
Got
a
the
Canadian.
pizzazz.
He's
Yeah.
the Canadian Pauly D, man. Like he's just you have that entertainment aspect, and I feel like that's why all these shows like TLN or what else
Yeah.
you got over here, $1 Million Agent on Netflix. Like people are picking up on personality because
Right.
that's what sells.
Yeah.
It's the personality aspect.
Yeah.
Of anything. Right.
So how did that
100%.
transition look like?
Authenticity, bro,
Right.
all day.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't
yeah.
fake. Like you can fake it till
Yeah.
you make it to a certain point.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to being you, if you're not you, then
People will call
you're-
bullshit.
Yeah.
People
like,
call
They'll know.
bullshit.
They'll
greed
know.
stinks.
You could see it from a fucking mile. Sorry, excuse my language. You
No,
could
go
see
right
it
ahead.
from a mile away. You could see bullshit from a mile away, and
100%.
people don't gravitate to that. People just know that I'm being sold something here, or someone's trying to pull the
smells
wool
almost.
over my eyes. It
Yeah,
does.
It has a
It
little
does.
stink to it, and
does.
I totally agree with you. So for our viewers here, because what you're gonna be doing, whether you know it or not, is you're gonna be inspiring a lot of our viewers here, a lot of our listeners as well, whether they're watching you on YouTube or listening to you on a podcast platform. There's a lot of people right now that don't know which direction they're going to be heading in their life. So how did that transition look so that they can understand it's not all rainbows? Dude, there's shit that goes down behind the scenes that people don't talk about. They see the smiles. But they don't see the sacrifices one made off. The nights they spent awake not knowing what the fuck the next step was. Trying to figure out the balance that's going to bring both happiness and financial income. Because, dude, happiness is great, but Bell doesn't take happiness for the bill. You can't be like, dude, I'll make you happy. Can I pay the bill with me making you happy? They're going to say thank you, but no. So how did that all play out? What did that transition look like as you were leaving the entertainment world and started this all from chapter 1? How did it look like?
Yeah. So got out, made the decision. 2020 was the last party. Like I was saying a little earlier, Countdown, Liberty Grand. Prior to that, there was a year exit strategy because I was so involved in every operation that I had owned equity. And I had 7 open corporations at the time, of which I was majority shareholder of all and director of operations in 5 out of the 7. 2 out of them, I was the right hand to the director of operations. So again, very, very involved. It took about a year to unwind that and have my existing partners understand that I got to back out and someone's going to fill my spot. So worked with who was going to be filling my spot for the most part, and then sold my shares back to the existing partners in every corporation that I was with, right? Walked out with my head up high, have solid relationships with all those boys, right? And I'm still I'm friends with them and keep in contact with them and do business with them, just in a different industry. So that number one, that I had an exit strategy for the year, and I always want to do right by those that I'm doing business with, that I'm working with, everyone. So
you only get one reputation.
Giving them that time and that energy so that, you know, their business can carry on without me involved with it and do good, right? Yeah. That's what I want to see. I want to see
you all made money.
Win,
you just,
right?
you know, you were at a fork in the road.
Yeah. So again, put that at the top of the list. So 1 year exit strategy, making sure I did right by everyone, and it was as smooth as could have been, smooth as can be style transition.
Exactly, because goodbyes are never happy. Let's just say that.
Exactly. Then moved on, did the course for the mortgage license, right? Got that. And before I opened Spark Financial Group, like we obviously incorporated the company and got the name, but before we opened and launched with all the social media platforms, the website, and got loud about it and actually started telling people that we were brokers, we went into about a year of development, right? And the development being doing a lot of shooting of videos and a lot of marketing, a lot of further studying as well, because the course only gives you like a real abbreviated version, same as the real estate course, right? But then you're out in real life and you got to kind of figure it out. So worked with a lot of different brokers and agents on just sitting in front of them watching, what they were doing, how they were doing it, took additional courses, developed the marketing campaign, developed our brand, our brand kit, core values, business plan. We put the foundation in place and we took our time doing it. So to answer your question, to go to your question on that, and in regards to it being tough, there was a nice little capital injection. There was a lot of time put on the clock, learning something new that feels weird and awkward, right? And a lot of times you're like second guessing yourself, like, is this right? Like, am I in the right space? Am I doing the right thing, right? And all those things. So that was the tough part about it, right? Not having revenue coming in, putting a lot of dough into it.
I say this all the time. It's hard to go to work not knowing if you're going to be paid, man.
Yeah.
Like,
and there was about a year
hours where it's like, imagine going to work and, how many hours you work this week? 100. How much you get paid? I didn't.
Yeah.
It's because you're investing in yourself, right? So it's sweat equity you got in there.
Yeah, for sure. And that was very tough, right? Having you know, that family life and that work life balance, and by trying to stay balanced with being there with the kids and with the wife and being that dad I wanted to be, and then starting this new venture off, and time management was a big piece of it, right? And trying to achieve that balance. And then also too, trying to leave all the vices behind, right? Like there was a lot of partying that was going on in those 12 years, and there was a lot of habits that you form over those 12 years, and neurological pathways that are running in a certain
100%.
way that you've had running for 12 years.
You don't forget how to ride a bike even if you haven't ridden one in 12 years.
Right, exactly. So you got to leave those behind too, and those aren't the easiest to leave behind. So went through a lot with that, and that. Fuck, I mean, how long do we have, right? I'll just speed through it. But yeah, just keeping those vices arrested for the most part, right? And then just giving her day in, day out discipline, bouncing off of good people, getting coaching, sticking to the plan, and just keep going, never give up, and just put all you have into it, and she's going to give. It's going to happen, right? So hence then we started Spark Financial Group. We never looked back. Everything's been awesome. We're right now at 12 people, 8 full-time, for our business development managers. growing exponentially. We're doubling and tripling revenues month after month, expanding into Fort Lauderdale now. That'll be our first expansion.
Beautiful.
A location
Amazing.
that we're planting there.
I saw
We
that
signed
February.
the lease. Yeah, February 10th. We opened. We signed the lease.
The day after my birthday.
And we're right on. It's a good day then. Yeah, and we're just rocking, man. Like I blame my staff. I blame the company culture. I blame all the beautiful people that we surround ourselves with on a daily basis. I blame my coach. I blame my wife. All in a good way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, man, the teamwork makes the dream work, and it just feels amazing that we just kept going at it. And now we're really starting to see the results, and not only with the revenue, but all the the media and the social platforms kicking butt, and the TV shows and
that's
and
what I
all
want to
that
get
stuff,
into.
right?
So
Yeah.
now that you develop, we saw the past Nick over here with the partying, right?
Yeah,
and then moving into Spark Financial and your development with your company and being a CEO and growing it substantially to the States. How did you get on TV, dude? Like, how did you promote yourself? You got a personality, you got the face for it, man. Like, I just watched some podcasts. Like, this guy's got the face, man. So, like, how did you develop into getting these Netflix shows and like being on TLN? Like, how did you get these gigs?
Dude, doing exactly what you're doing. Just keep doing it.
So
right?
with the
And
What Would It Cost podcast, it's incredible to see the genius it was to expand your network in this manner.
Right.
Because in this way, you were able to reach hundreds of agents who get listened to by hundreds of agents.
Correct.
And then they have clients, which is a multiple to by whatever client they have.
Correct.
So that is technically the total amount of what your network has expanded, because when they have someone, they're coming to you, right? So how did the What Would It Cost podcast come to life? So we get a better understanding of what went on in Nicholas's domain. So grant us a little bit of access so we can understand it better for the viewers and listeners.
Yeah, 100%. And thank you all again for all the compliments and recognition.
Of course,
but so essentially, I'm a big believer in stick to what you're good at doing, hammer that, right? Because not only are you going to enjoy it because you're good at it, right? But you're just going to get better and better and better, and it's going to be more awesome and more awesome and more awesome as the journey goes on. But hire people and partner people to do what they're awesome at doing, right?
Exactly.
And that's the way I like to lead. So hence Joseph Tito, Dad Diaries, is on board with us, right?
Shout out Joseph Tito.
Yeah, he's our chief marketing officer.
Great guy.
So he was our first hire in the marketing division, right? Which now we're scaling and onboarding people for the Florida spot. We have brought on David Viella as well, who's the producer for What Would It Cost.
Yes, we met there.
So, so essentially Joe came in and he's like, listen, man, like you guys are characters. You're funny. You're cool. Like this needs to come out on camera. Like you guys are hiding this. I get this whole finance shtick and this box that, this whole industry's trying to fit in. He goes, but this is all BS. He's like, people and the new generations, they don't relate with that. You need to just do you guys, and we're going to get it on camera. And the first way we're going to start with that is a podcast. So that's just, a great idea. That's it, right? And there's so many stats and analytics and data to back his point in regards to authenticity is 50% more effective than produced content. 100%. So whenever anyone sees a bit of production and like, there's a setup there and there was work and time that went into something, right? They feel like they're being sold and they automatically turn off or they swipe.
Yeah, so like what's the catch almost?
What's the catch over here, right? Yeah. And that authentic content where you just turn the camera around, right? Or you just put the mics out, turn the camera on and start talking. People gravitate to that because they gravitate to authenticity.
No one wants a ring light video with subtitles like, do you want to do this? I'm down there,
Right. No, and you know what? As funny as it may seem, it's like how much overhead is on the produced content, how much time, how much thought, how much writing goes into it. Right. And then it's 50% less effective than if you just turn a camera around, you have stuff in your eye, your hair's to the left.
Bro, Gary Vee is just shitting on everybody's content. The guy's video isn't even fucking HD. It's just like some 720p reverse cam. He's like, okay, guys, and he's just pointing at something.
And he understands the stats,
and he's just
the analytics.
Yeah, $100,000 production.
That's right.
Who's
your
role model?
He's doing it.
You got a role model?
I have a few, bro. I like The Rock, bro. I think The Rock's awesome.
Dwayne.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah,
Patrick Bet David is dope. David Goggins keeps me hard.
Oh yeah.
And Tony Robbins is like the
Everyone
man,
loves
bro.
Tony
He's
Robbins, like
the man.
if
yeah.
you looked at adrenaline and there was a picture beside it, it would be Tony Robbins.
Yeah,
In the
My-
I was just
dictionary.
at his conference in West Palm.
My
I
uncle
was at
loves
Unleash
Tony
the Power
Robbins.
Within.
Was it? Yeah, that was like
nuts.
4X or 10X. Was it? No, Unleash the Power Within. I saw it was a huge
Yeah,
conference. There was like
nuts. It was
how many?
nuts.
Like 10,000, 50,000 agents.
We walked on coal, literally. Yeah, he
Get out.
psychs you up.
You took off your socks?
For 4 days, 14, 15 hours a day, he runs you. And at the end of day one, at like the 15th hour, he had 13,000 people walk across burning hot coals.
What do you think? What's so special?
And it
what-
worked?
He
what
gets
does
he
do?
gets
Yeah,
you in a
just-
state of mind, bro. You just go into this animal mode that you it's wild.
Bro,
you gotta be there, bro.
I'm like, bro, did you like cook your feet and eat
Dude,
spaducci after?
there was 120-pound chicks walking across hot coals, like all fired up, and we're like, yeah, yeah, bro, we were high fiving them, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
he just
actually
gets
crazy.
in your head. He psychs you up, but remember, he's built you up that whole day too, right?
Yeah.
For like 14 hours.
not like he
15
starts you off at
hours,
9
he's
a.m. working on
you,
coal.
and then
Yeah.
you're like, what the fuck just
Become a
happened? Sorry.
spaducci for a minute, and then just puts you on. Then you're like, I'm no spaducci. Walk by that coal. The coal needs
No
me.
Spaducci.
No, shout out Tony Robbins, man. Shout out Tony Robbins, man.
Yeah, Robbins is the man.
So
yeah.
like, so now that we know what would it cost podcast, right?
Yeah.
We gotta get to these TV shows, man. What's
Yeah,
going on
okay.
with that?
How did it all roll out? So you started this podcast. It starts all of a sudden you're featured on TLN.
Mm-hmm.
Then I see you're being featured on $1 Million Agent. You're on Netflix. You're on Amazon Prime. Take the viewers through what that process looked like and how that all rolled out, because they all wait for that magic day where they wake up and that's their opportunity, right? That
Right.
message in the email or their DM or whatever it is, that message that potentially is in life-changing opportunity. So how did that all roll out?
Yeah, no, great question. So essentially, in a nutshell, I like to say it's just continuing to fire out content on all the social media platforms. The podcast was running, and we were pumping out 2 episodes a week at that time. And we got to meet a lot of other business owners. So as much as the podcast is great for the audience and retail investors and people looking to get into the market, we got to meet other business owners that were kicking butt in their respected fields, right? And just like we're doing right now, have an awesome conversation, learning more about 100%. One another. I got to meet Laura Campagna, and Laura Campagna is an agent on Top $1 Million Agent.
A local, if whoever doesn't know who Laura is a local real estate producing machine. Let's just leave it at that. That's all I got to say. Let's hear what Nick says.
Yeah, and outside of her real estate experience, she's got a lot of experience in the corporate world. She held like high positions for big corporate Fortune 100 companies and has a lot of respect in that world with a high net worth clientele. Then she brings the real estate experience to the table, and she's just motoring. She never shuts off. Like, we're going through our messages at 8, 9 at night, and we're up as early as 7, 8 in the morning. We work hand in hand with her on investments. We do all her mortgages for her and her staff, and all the media stuff that we're doing now too. So she's just on it all the time. So essentially, she's great on camera. Laura's awesome on camera. So she's really in with the Top $1 Million Agent, and she helps the producer produce these episodes as well. So it's not just her showing up and acting. She's actually on the directing and producing side of it. Not that she calls herself that, but I got to witness that she's actually doing that with Miguel, who's the producer on Top $1 Million Agent, which I got to know is an awesome guy. So she welcomed us on to come on as the lending expert, right, and the broker for a certain project. And long story short, Miguel took a liking to us. Laura liked the way that we were on camera. You know, we grew a relationship with Miguel a little bit, and Laura continued to grow that relationship. And it was just like, hey man, why don't you guys take your own episode, right? And let's put that show on you guys, right? For Top $1 Million Agent. So it was like, yeah, cool. And then we found out that day where we were signing it, because we just thought it was like on Amazon Prime and like 5 or 6 other networks that are pretty big. that he's like, hey, this is on Netflix too. This next season's going on Netflix because Netflix picked it up. They liked it so much. We're like, oh shit, like it's pretty crazy.
There
like,
you go.
Netflix Canada. He's like, no, Netflix, like Netflix.
Really?
I was
Netflix.
like, wow, that's crazy.
That's amazing.
And he's going on to work on some other big projects with movies and other seasons and whatnot. So, we're excited to see where that grows, even outside of just the top $1 million agent side.
For sure, it's a great network to build. People like that are great to have in your network, especially when it's an authentic relationship. Because again, you don't need each other. You want to work with each other. Big difference. You know, there's a difference to when, again, greed stinks. So when you have this chemistry in a team that works so well together and you're building this, that's the incredible part about all this. The fact that you guys were able to find each other on your paths and your paths crossed, and look at what you guys are producing. It's incredible. I'm loving every part of it. I'm having a piss every fucking day when I see your videos. I just laugh. Because it's good. It's informative. Like when you came out of the trash can, the dumpster, holy smokes, man.
That's how it gets your attention.
Bro, you made my day. Then you rolled out from under a school bus. I was like, this guy's like a James Bond. I love it. Like I couldn't get enough of it, dude. So hands off to that, because that's incredible, dude. That's incredible. Good for you. Keep it going.
Yeah, appreciate that.
So how is it? Because we had our friend from Sunny Leo Homes doing he did the what did he do?
Property Brothers,
and all that stuff. How was it with the production side of things? Right?
Yeah, really cool.
Was it like clean, or was it kind of like staged? Right? Was it hard to deal with like being yourself on camera? Did you get any nerves? How was the filming process? All that?
No, all that stuff, bro. Just because it's a heavy crew, it's a heavy production crew, right? You got sound booms, you got lights everywhere, you got like 6-7 cameras running, you got a photographer in the back. But yes, to answer your question, right? But at the same time, then Laura is like the quarterback with Miguel. They're just super chill and cool. And so now you're on set, now you're on the scene. All the cameras are set in place. It takes about an hour for each scene before the cameras even turn on, because you got hair and makeup, you got the cameras being stationed, you got this. You're being mic'd up, so they're checking sound all the time. They're making sure that everything's quiet where you're filming, and you're trying to get that perfect shot. So, as that's all happening, there's butterflies in your stomach. But then Laura and Miguel will just sit you down and just go over what's going to be next. Okay, this is what's going to happen. This is how the conversation is going to flow. This is what we're going to talk about, and this is what we're going to do.
It helps that you have that relationship with them too, right? So it doesn't feel like an interview where you're like you have a pressure.
You're talking to a friend.
You're just chilling,
Yeah, and you know what?
There's just 8 cameras in front of me, but we're chilling,
Yeah, exactly. Because they're the pros, right? And you pick up on that and you start to get used to it, right? But through practice, and like anything else, it takes time. If you keep it authentic and you keep it real and you keep it true, you're good. My dad always said to me, one lie, you tell one lie, get ready to tell 100 more to cover up for that one.
Then you forget.
Don't be a bullshitter. Yeah. Keep it true. Keep it authentic.
I love that.
And anything that ever rolls off your tongue is just real. People trust you, and people, again, gravitate to that, right? Yeah, so like you don't have to blow smoke around anything if you're just telling the truth. Whether for good or whether for bad, it is what it is. Yeah. You're just telling the truth. So in those scenes, you're just talking about what you know in regards to your part and your deal on that show, right? And if you're not bullshitting and you're not blowing smoke, then it rolls off your tongue nicely. So as long as you can drown out that noise in the background, and like I said, it takes time and you get better with it, like anything. Yeah, just keep it authentic, keep it real.
I love that. I love that.
Be you, man. Yeah. You don't gotta act like someone else that you're not. Just be you.
I love that. I love the fact that you even quoted your dad there, because there's nothing. There's nothing I hate more than a liar.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you're dealing with. If they lie about this, they're going to lie about what their limit on a lie is, because they're already a liar.
Also, like The Boy Who Cried Wolf. It's like,
and then finally it's like, but I'm telling you the truth, man. I swear. It's just like, you've just lied so much by now.
So worse.
It's just like, what am I? I can't believe you. I literally, because I'm not a liar. And I tell that to my lady every day, and she knows that, because sometimes she'll like look at me and ask me something, and she'll see the smile on my face and be like, "You don't want the answer," and she'll be like, "Why?" You don't want the answer because I can't lie.
respect that.
So
I
you
respect
don't
that,
want the
yeah.
answer, and she'll be like, "Hey, spit it out." I'll be like, "Hey, but you can't get mad because I'm telling you I can't lie." And then it's like a thing we have where I can't lie, and anytime something happens or someone wants the truth, she looks at me, and if I'm not in the room, she knows because he doesn't want to lie. So I literally leave the room, or I was just like, they'll ask me something, and be like, "You think it looks good?" And I'll just be like,
I'll see you later.
I'll just look over to the right and be like, "Oh, what do you think?"
You say it.
I respect that.
Yeah,
I respect
that's the way,
that.
dude. I lying is just one thing that just makes my stomach like hurt. I feel weird as a liar. I feel like you degrade yourself if you're a liar. I feel like your value just goes through the floor if you lie. I think, dude, kudos to that, dude.
Yeah.
There's nothing
Yeah.
nastier than a liar because liars
Yeah.
are just like your father said. If you're gonna tell one lie, get ready to tell 100 because you're gonna be lying
Yeah.
about everything else because that lie is gonna build on something else. And we see this a lot today, right? Because we hear the thing that social media isn't what you see it is, right? They only highlight the good stuff. And that is, sure, partially true. I'm not going to put hard discussions I have with people on my social media, be like, hey, look what offended him. And then we'll chat about it because that's not what you do, right? So obviously, sure, it is technically like a highlight of one's life. However, just lying can only lead down this spiral. And people see, like, for example, people are posting a bunch of stuff. Their Instagram is a highlight of their life. And they almost portray to be somebody they're not. And you can tell when people are trying to do that because it caps. No pun intended.
Yeah.
It literally caps to where you get stuck at a certain level. And then there's just like, okay, but we know you're not that person. And then you won't even have the support of the people around you because the people around you know you're not that person. And then and again, it's not like, you know, sometimes they say speak into the universe what you want to happen. So that's not considered a lie. A lie is when you're literally evading the truth about yourself and just spitting out things that aren't true, or you just lie about a scenario or whatever the case may be. But it just goes to show that when you build yourself on authenticity, like you're saying, and not being a liar, sure, it is a longer path and it will be harder because you can't fool people and it is what it is. Literally, it's the most authentic way to build a community, to build a proper support system, to build great relationships, to do all these things on the right foot, whether it'll take longer. Like, dude, you can tell me you did 50 sit-ups, but if you did 10, you're going to look like you do 10 sit-ups.
Right.
Have you ever caught a liar in your business?
Yeah,
Right
lots
away?
of them. Yeah,
How do you deal with them?
I avoid those people. I don't want them part of my community. I don't really want to do business with them, right? I don't need to call them out on their stuff anyway, right? But it's just I don't deal with them. I avoid them.
The bigger
at all
person.
costs.
Yeah.
Yeah, just all the time. All the time. Try to be the bigger person. Take one on the cheek. Look the other way and move on, right? Understand it for what it is.
Take a lesson out of
learn
it.
from that experience, but avoid those people. And the whole authenticity side of things, right? Like, people are going to pick up on that. And when you come out of your shell and you start to get really loud on the socials and the media, you're going to be judged no matter which way you twist it or turn it. And you're going to have an audience that loves you and follows you and is like, whoa, this guy's awesome. And then you're going to have an audience that doesn't, right?
Of course.
So you're never going to be able to come out and make everyone happy.
Absolutely.
And if you can wrap that around your head and not let the people that aren't a big fan of yours, to whatever extent it may be, not bug you anymore, then you're going to unleash your superpower.
Yeah, 'cause you're just focused on, and I love that because you're focused on making the people who love you.
Exactly.
And I do feel like
Yeah.
the entertainment business helps you a lot with the managing people's like feelings and stuff, because especially in entertainment, you're working with so many people, right?
Yeah.
And you're trying to satisfy them, but it's like impossible, right?
Yeah.
It's impossible to satisfy everyone. And then you start becoming not selfish, but you're trying to develop, ideas of how to work around it. And I think work ethic is something that you definitely like. That's your core thing, Like, you knew at a young age that school wasn't a thing. And
Yeah.
especially your parents like putting you through, work at a very young age. Your work ethic literally got you to where you are. So kudos to that, man.
No, and Mike, good, like, good on you for picking that up and shouting that out. And it's something that I'm proud to say. And again, blame on my mom and my dad, because they knew the school system wasn't working for me. And like I said, we're not blaming the curriculum or the school system. We're just saying me and it didn't jive. So if it's not that, it's got to be this tool that he gets real sharp, because that's what he's going to go out in the world and be able to make a living from. So yeah, so sometimes like I'd have to stop myself and just be like, I go hard, bro. You know what I mean? And that's where it stems from.
But
right? It's like that muscle. You're just fucking
school is
working
not.
that muscle,
It's not all
right?
about like what you're learning though. Like I think most of it is community for me. Like that's why I'm in it.
Yeah.
But it's not like if you're not passionate about what you're learning about,
Exactly.
it's just I work on deadlines, right? So when I have like I'm in a film production right now. When I have deadlines, I get shit done. If I don't, like my real life deadlines are like, hey, when is the episode got to be out? When is the clips? Like I need deadlines to work at it, right? Otherwise, my perception of time just like I'll do it tomorrow, right?
Right.
But with people that don't have school as like a structure, it's actually a lot harder to be like a workaholic outside of school because you don't have things taking up your time. And it's so easy to like lay off, go on your phone, scroll through social media, right? Well, I guess I'm a different generation. I'm 20. You guys over here. This guy's a daughter, you have 3 kids. So, but I think that it's a lot easier to, when you don't have shit occupying your time, you tend to stir away from things. So the fact that you could build all this stuff with like the podcast and these TV shows and your network, along with the partying as well, right? And like the promoting and stuff like that. That's really dope. Like that's sick that you stayed on track of shit.
And I love that you gave us that perspective because let's be honest, partying is a part of your growing up. You learn a lot of stuff partying. It's not like, okay, I get it. There's
fun,
habits.
Exactly.
It is, exactly. And there's habits and stuff that come out of partying. And there's good memories and bad memories and whatever. I think it's a part of the adulting process.
Absolutely.
I think it's a process we all have to go through. However, a lot of people here listening are being told the complete fucking opposite. Mama, papa are saying the opposite. They're saying, don't do this, don't do that. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. The school system worked for you. The school system didn't work for you. So there's no cookie cutter experience or no manual that's ever going to help guide you through the exact path you're going through. However, when viewers listen to your episode, they're going to think like, you know what? He didn't have it all figured out, but look at him now. So if you could leave the viewers and listeners here with almost like, when you see the Morgan Freeman quotes. And
Da.
if you had to leave them with a quote that they would put up on their wall, dash Nick Regina, says at the bottom, what would your quote to them be?
It would be, Chris.
Oh, shit.
Go hard.
Let's go!
Let's go!
Get it going, baby! Get it going! 1, 2, 3.
Let's go. Holy smokes.
Shout out to Office Depot for the very stable table. Well, you saw it here, folks. Thank you, Nick Regina, for coming by this episode. You're a fucking beauty. I love you, buddy. And thank you for tuning in to the Boardroom Show. Be sure to follow, subscribe, and like. And if you want to follow Nick's username is going to appear right here. But Bing.
In the description.
Yeah,
as well.
send them a DM. If you have any questions, show them some love, shout them out. Again, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.